Oh, what's up, solutionaries? Everybody come on in, come on in. We got a decent amount to talk about this morning. Real quick, solutionarylifestyle.org. Make sure everybody's going to grab tickets to the Solutionary Summit. These are some of the things that we're going to actually discuss. The solution is winning. The solution is not just pandering. The solution is not just attacking. The solution is actually winning. So everybody show up Miami, September the 3rd through the 5th at the Solutionary Summit in Miami, solutionarylifestyle.org. If you're coming in just now, smash the like button, whatever, thumbs up, whatever it is on this platform. Comment something, whatever. If you want to support our work at Black Guns Matter, GoFundMe.com/Black Guns Matter. You can donate there or super chat. If you got questions in this particular thing, if you want to address something, you want to promote a business, do a super chat. All of your money in this super chat goes towards our work at Black Guns Matter of informing and arming urban America on the Second Amendment and getting guns in the hood and being safe and responsible gun owners. Let me do this real quick. Huge shouts to the squad, Phoenix Ammo. They're one of our sponsors for the Solutionary Summit. Huge shouts to United States Concealed Carry Association. They are one of the sponsors of the Solutionary Summit. Huge shouts to Guns for Everyone, one of the sponsors of the Solutionary Summit. And there's a few other people. I'll make sure I put them in the caption here, everybody as well. Daniel Zent says, hey, man, love what you're doing. Kevin Tony, keep doing the work. What's up? J-Dub, what's up? So if y'all coming in giving those quick, shout outs and things like that, that's great. But if you want to promote a business, if you want to ask a legit question about this conversation right now, if you want to just help our work, we appreciate the super chat. It will be amazing if we could get, I don't know, let's say a few $100 in super chat. Somebody donate $100, somebody donate 20, whatever. Getting all of that stuff out of the way. Oh, speaking of which, hold on, let me show you my my new Canic. Boom. Yeah. Let's get into it. The discussion this morning, for those of you who aren't aware, there was a George Floyd memorial that was made. Somebody just donated $50. Who's that? Chris Campana, thankful for you. I appreciate that. We $50 in. Let's try to get, $300, $400, $500, y'all, whatever. Appreciate that, Chris, tremendously. Chris, when you get a chance to for that $50 super chat, I want you to do me a favor. Type in, you don't have to do another super chat, but type in something that you want to promote, right? That'll help a whole lot. Okay. George Floyd mural. It was struck by lightning. And when this happened a few days ago, I legitimately was like, man, I really hope conservatives don't take that bait. I really hope that conservatives or people that identify as on the right, I really hope that they don't take that bait in that regard. I hope that they don't, in essence, make fun of something that is done. It's over. Dude's dead, whatever. And I let it watch for a while. And I saw, and some people follow me. Some are more prominent, some are not. And I saw these guys just start to make fun of this thing. They brought God into it. They brought religion into it, all of these different things. And let's go back for a second. For those of you who don't know, George Floyd was the man that was murdered or killed by Derek Chauvin. He had his neck kneeled on, and it's been one of the most polarizing cases in a very long time. Derek Chauvin was convicted. Derek Chauvin, and it was a highly politicized trial. It was very polarizing. He was convicted, and I think the other 3 officers may be convicted soon or go to court soon or something of that nature. Now, wherever you stand on George Floyd was not a saint, okay? Now, I want to be clear here because as a libertarian, as a balanced person, I want to make sure that I'm critiquing and championing when either so-called side gets it right. I think that political parties have been extremely, well, especially the duopoly has been extremely polarizing. It doesn't actually lean America in a direction that we actually need to go. Jared Kennan says, don't always agree with you, but at the same time, you've opened my eyes and given me good perspective on a lot of issues. 100%, that's what I strive to do, balance, right? This conversation today, appreciate you, Jared. This conversation today will be one of those balanced conversations. George Floyd was not a saint. He wasn't. He had been convicted of things, so forth and so on. And I think that the left utilized his death to galvanize things and get their agenda off. Okay, so let's be clear about that, because I don't want people to say, I'm just coming in here just to attack conservatives, our brothers and sisters that happen to be conservative. I get on the left, I get on the right. I'm middle. I have no dog in this fight other than critiquing and championing the moves that are going to make us a more powerful America. Okay, that work being more specifically in areas where we need the work, urban America. Okay. By and large, the left is dominating urban America, where there's more pockets of population, where we need more conservative, libertarian, independent voices, values, and principles there more than anywhere. Okay. So he was killed. Guys in jail. We live with those outcomes, just like we lived with Trayvon Martin. I disagree with the Zimmerman verdict. But I also think that the Trayvon Martin's family or that prosecuting attorney overcharged, we live with the outcome. Cool. Same thing with the George Floyd, or Derek Chauvin verdict. We live with the outcome. He has the right to appeal. We have an appellate process, so forth and so on. Okay, cool. However you feel about that, he's passed. And this conversation is not about whether George Floyd was a saint, was perfect, or the left was accurate in their portrayal of him. That's not what this conversation is about at all. I have an agenda. My agenda is to get conservative and libertarian values spread into the area that it's needed the most. The way that we do that is by winning the hearts and minds of the people. The left, for a very long time, has made all libertarians, independent, anybody that's not blue, right? They have painted us as racist or coons or tap dancers. And there's some of that in all of these parties. The left, the Democratic Party is the party of the Klan. We already know all of the talking points, okay? Their policies have not been good for my demographic. My job is to make, especially as a Second Amendment advocate and activist, my job is to get liberty and conservative principles spread into that demographic. But you goofballs do things like this that makes it more difficult. Okay. That's what this conversation is about. This conversation is about winning. This conversation is not about whether George Floyd was a saint or not. So I want to give some context there in that regard. Okay. So going back to, they make a mural of George Floyd. That mural is struck by lightning and it falls. So I saw this happen, and I was praying, in essence, that people wouldn't take that low-hanging fruit and that easy bait. The left has packaged the right as, through media, most effective devil in America, BlackLivesMatterShop.com. They have packaged the media as, left media has packaged people center or right of center as racist. Say what you want about George Floyd and his past history and his convictions or his charges and all of that dumb shit that he was into, which was dumb shit. The left has effectively galvanized this person that is the symbol of a form of police brutality and a death as a result of that police brutality. This person is dead, lightning strikes, and here come the conservative jokes about it. This speaks to a fundamental flaw that I believe isn't actually a flaw at this point. It's actually a strategy to maintain losing. Okay? It's actually a strategy to maintain losing. Kevin Tony with the $20 super chat. I appreciate you, my brother. This is not a strategy to win. Now, what do I mean by that? We could very simply just ignore the fact that lightning struck this George Floyd memorial. We could just ignore it. That person's dead. Justice has been served, or at least, until he goes to, Chauvin goes to appeal the case and whatever. But if we know that the left media has packaged people right, center, or right of center as racist, and the left made this whole thing about race, they overblew it. They did it. Why would you hand your opposition such an easy layup? You make them look right about conservatives when you go back, and instead of leaving that low-hanging fruit there, they give you the bait and you take it. Giving you the bait doesn't mean that they made the lightning strike the George Floyd memorial, But you bring your God into it. You bring God wanted this building to fall down, so forth and so on. This is a strategy for losing. This is from the same conservative movement that highlight certain black, and I'm more specifically talking to black conservatives. And I'm not saying that to isolate or make fun of white conservatives or anything. I'm saying that because conservative values that a lot of black people actually live or libertarian policies that or values that urban America or black and brown folks actually live, we're voting in the opposite direction because the left has been successful at making it look as if all black people, or excuse me, all conservatives don't like black people. So instead of doing something to push against that narrative, you fall right in alignment with it. These are the same people that put black conservatives that say nothing, do nothing for the actual community, do nothing for Second Amendment rights in these demographics in urban America. They repeat the same talking points. So these people are being highlighted by the left and the right, saying that this is what it means to be black and to be a conservative. This is what conservatives actually are. They hate black people. Look, they're making fun of a dead man, George Floyd's mural. They highlight these goofballs when the reality is there's guys like Adrian Norman, there's guys like Joe Collins, there's guys like Major Williams, there's women like Sonny Johnson, like Angela Stanton King that are much more, like Rhonda Mary. There are men and women in the conservative movement that are much more relatable, have actual solutions. A lot of them will be at the Solutionary Summit, just to toss that out there, solutionarylifestyle.org. There are people that actually have more viable solutions that are more relatable in urban America, but the right, the GOP, the so-called conservatives, they highlight the people that don't actually have solutions because they're not actually interested in winning. They don't want to win. I'm a libertarian, and as a person that has a bird's eye view, I'm looking and I'm going like, you're either really dumb, and I don't think they're that dumb, or you just don't want to win. You don't want to win because winning actually involves accountability and responsibility. It's much easier to say, let's make fun or own the libs, as opposed to going, listen, I'm going to leave this one alone. There's policy that people on the left, that people on the right could actually be destroying. In the middle of all of this, and I mentioned Rhonda Mary. She shared something on her social media that I thought was amazing, right? She talked about right now, Biden is pushing more police in the hood, federal police, anti-gun legislation. None of the conservatives are talking about that. None of the Republicans or the GOP are having a conversation about, hey, we know that a lot of black people are new gun owners. We want to help you and expose the fact that Joe Biden is pushing for more racist policies of gun control that is deliberately, he's saying he's going to target urban centers across America where the black and brown people live. But instead of the conservative movement or the GOP or some of these talking heads in the conservative movement using that as the ability to actually get more people from new gun owners from these demographics that are also having buyer's remorse about Joe Biden and voting for him. Instead of going in that direction and using that as the actual tactic to get more people onto, you're a new gun owner, Joe Biden wants you to be in jail for being a gun owner, he wants to target your community, right? They don't want to highlight the fact that Joe Biden's been locking up black people for however long. That's not what we're talking about. We're using social media and our platforms to make fun of a dead person, bringing your God into it as if last month lightning didn't strike a church in North Carolina. So you say these things like God didn't want it. So did that same God not want that church in North Carolina to stand by striking it with lightning? The level of contradiction and repulsive talking point that many more prominent conservative so-called leaders or popular people are parroting is repulsive to our community. And I think that they know that at this point. I've been at CPAC now, on the main stage for maybe 5 times now on different types of CPACs, but for the last 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Okay. I've had these conversations with high level folks over at CPAC and this and that. And again, I don't think that CPAC themselves is like, pushing that, but the talking points of the people that they bring there are exactly the same. So some of those people, and I have conversation engagement with them, they're fully aware that this thing doesn't work, but they continue to do it. They continue to do it because the duopoly, the back and forth, the Batman and Joker, fight and fight and fight without actually benefiting all of America. They are more interested in owning the libs or the left owning the right and going back with that false dichotomy or that polarized fight as opposed to actually benefiting Americans. I'll give you a perfect example. Over the last year, 2020, we had multiple bailouts, supposed stimulus packages or COVID relief. All of those things are the same thing under different names. These guys got very bipartisan and nonpartisan to take money from the people, trillions of dollars, and say it's under COVID relief, but then at the same time, say the vast majority of those resources are actually going to special interest groups and politicians or their cronies or their shell companies. They got real, let's work together about this for their benefit, but not the benefit of the people. Now, I bring that up because of the fact that the people, the actual people, are tired of this. Now, tying this back to the George Floyd thing, this is back-to-back movements that the conservatives are horrible at. I have a hard time believing that you're this dense, especially when people like myself and other prominent people that I named or more popular, maybe not as popular as the people that are being paid or highlighted by these big organizations. And some of them I've worked with. So I want to be very clear. My critique of them is not an attack in the sense of I hate whatever, I hate the left, I hate the right. Okay. I'm saying if we want to win, I'm interested in winning. If we want to win, the marketing and the branding is horrible. The left is so good at marketing and branding that they have nothing but lies. The left, the Democrats, again, have destroyed the black community, have attempted to separate black families. And I'm not just only black families, but I'm more specifically talking to this because, again, this is where we need these conservative and liberty principles. They've done everything wrong for these communities for 50, 60, however many hundreds of years. But somehow they overwhelmingly win. The lack of engagement by Republicans and the GOP in those demographics. Right now, we got, Kimberly Klacik, who attempted to fight in Baltimore. We actually have some goofball conservatives actually saying you shouldn't have fought in that district because it's unwinnable. So that's what we're telling the conservatives that are actually trying to do it in the areas that we actually need it. When I started Black Guns Matter, so many so-called pro-gun people say, hey, man, don't go to places that's not pro-gun. Why? We need the work there. That's stupid. Imagine if they say they love America so much in American history. Imagine if somebody would have told George Washington and those guys, hey, man, you can't beat the British. They have the strongest Navy ever. Don't do it. Okay? Just imagine that for a second. And that's it. I know it's an extreme example, but that's what we're dealing with. Okay? So we have those same goofy, popular conservatives attacking her because of the fact that she wants to fight here. There is a small contingency of conservative folks or people that say they're conservative that are actually attempting to sabotage the conservative movement for their own individual gain, for the liberty and libertarian movement as well for their own individual gain. You have people attacking Major Williams, who's been campaigning for however long to win this seat and snatch it from Newsom over in California. Now here come these Johnny-come-lately people putting out the same type of bullshit accusations that they put out about Kimberly Klacik fighting in Baltimore. Now they're doing that for Major Williams. You have the same type of people, organizations and universities repeating these same talking points. They are interested in only selling to a small amount of conservatives and selling them things. They are not interested in actually expanding the liberty and conservative movement. Let's go back to the libertarians. The libertarians have great knowledge, all of that. The National Party is afraid. They're the third largest political party in the country. They have the smartest folks. They don't have any of the backlash in regards to marketing to the black community or being perceived as racist, right, in the black community. But when prominent black libertarians such as myself, Larry Sharp, Eric July, make themselves available to the National Party does something to like push them away because they're afraid to win. Because again, winning means accountability. Winning becomes applying the solution. It's easier to complain than it is to actually win. And I'm seeing this in all of these different parties. Now, I have a vested interest in bringing more independent and libertarian folks, get the hood involved in that. We have some more space and less bullshit in the Libertarian Party than the GOP does in that regard, or excuse me, the Republican Party. But now I'm kind of talking about the conservatives and using this George Floyd mural being struck by lightning and making jokes of it, playing into the hands of leftist media to package you as racists. Now, the argument could be, well, those are the people that would believe that we weren't going to reach them anyway. That is a dumbass perspective to take. It's a dumbass perspective to take. Okay? Oh, well, they wasn't going to. That's the same as, well, you shouldn't even try to win in that area. These wins are incremental. America, Rome, all these places weren't built in a day. The left has been on what they're on. The Democrats have been on that for a very long time. So you use talking points, cower behind, well, they wasn't going to like me anyway, as opposed to being more strategic and not saying anything. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should. And the argument, when you're talking about military strategy, your move should advance your position on the opposition. In chess, when you make a move and that move doesn't advance your movement, and that movement supposedly being more people onto the conservative or libertarian side, when your moves don't advance that, in chess, we call that a wasted move. It's a waste of time. If you're just coming in, snap the like button, the thumbs up, the like, whatever all of that is. If you want questions asked, if you want to promote a business, do a super chat. We're trying to get to a few $100s in the super chat. Support. Ask whatever questions you want for me to answer with a super chat. Okay. So this failed approach over time. I think that libertarians just weren't necessarily ready. The Libertarian Party came about in the early 1970s, 71, 72, something like that. Right. So they're relatively new. I think the impact of, certain caucuses like the Mises Caucus and bringing young, fresh blood in, I think they're new at it, but they have more of an interest in attempting to win. They just don't have the same level of infrastructure that the GOP, the Republicans, the conservatives, or obviously the Democrat Party does. But I think there's more room there, and I think more urban people would be in alignment with that. But I have conservative principles. And those conservative principles, when we see that in the meme world and all of this, you're playing into the hands of leftist media that's going to continue to package you as racist when the vast majority of you are not. Do you want to win, or do you just want to own the libs? Every time you do this own the lib thing, you actually don't. You go further away from advancing your cause. And be clear, you will not win without urban America. New York is 8 million people alone. California, Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Democratic strongholds because even with their lies, their slander, all of that, they're there and they know how to do PR better. You would take a cheap shot at a George Floyd mural because he was a criminal, because he did all of these things, right? Well, the left propped him up. Leave him alone. You're not trying to own. The move that you make isn't convincing the people that we need to convince that we're not racist. It's having the opposite effect. You're making the job of spreading if this is actually what you want, you're making the job of spreading conservative and liberty values more difficult for those of us that actually want to win. Okay? This is the problem with the George Floyd making fun of that mural, the statements, the jokes, and all of this dumb shit. This does not advance our cause. There's a conversation about Schumer is presenting some legislation that will legalize cannabis on the federal level. And a buddy of mine, Rob Pincus, who's a lot of people in the Second Amendment community hate him or they love him, right? And I figured out today why a lot of people may not like him. And it's not because of him per se. It's this thought process. Schumer's a Democrat. There are tons of black folks, urban folks that would benefit and become new gun owners. Some people want to do it the lawful way. When you fill out the 4473, which is the form to purchase a firearm, it asks you, hey, if you take any prohibited substances, you can't buy a gun. Those people that know that, you know, guys, PTSD, whatever, trauma, smoke. Hey, I can't buy a gun because I participate in cannabis. Schumer presents federal legalization bill. Now, I'm pretty sure it's going to have some pork in it and all of that, right? But imagine if we push that through and then start to get rid of some of that pork and repeal some of the stuff in there. There would be maybe 10, 20, maybe even 30 million Americans that now could participate in their freedom to smoke and ingest what they choose to while owning firearms, right? Now we have a starting point, but some people on the conservative side will oppose that legislation. And obviously the benefit of that legislation would also be, hey, we got to let some of the men come home, those guys that are in jail. And if Republicans got behind that bill and got rid of some of the stuff, barring it being super extreme, right? The pork, and got rid of some of that, repealed it or worked around that, some Republicans will deny that just because it's Schumer, which in turn leaves a bunch of potential new gun owners. That Second Amendment thing is a thing of people on the right, that we could garner them there. There's a lack of nuanced thought. There's a lack of, hey, I'll take this and we still got to work on that. The duopoly, the right and the left, play this all or nothing thing because they don't actually want solutions. They don't actually want to win. They continue to do this roundabout fight because it justifies their existence and the jobs that they have. They're addicted to crime. They don't want freedom. They're addicted to crime so they can look like they're tough on crime, so they manufacture crime. We say all of these limited government conservative things, but at the same time, we say back to blue no matter what. Never mind, this entire year, we've had police officers locking people up for not wearing a mask, for opening up their businesses, for going to their churches. The same churches that you say you're Christian and you're about, but you back to blue no matter what, while they're locking up pastors for participating in worship. They do not think in a layered and nuanced context because it serves their interest to only be very, very singular, not thinking layered in context and taking incremental steps towards actual freedom again. And this is why I believe that they are not actually interested in winning. They are interested in their own self-serving interests, just like the extreme left, when convenient. Either that or you're really stupid and you take this low-hanging fruit bait of a lightning strike, and then when I say something about it, Maj must be a closeted leftist. No, Maj wants America to actually win. Maj is actually living a conservative lifestyle, living a libertarian lifestyle. Maj actually wants freedom over everything. Black Guns Matter is designed to arm the people for limited government, limited need for the people to depend on the state for their own protection. But we've explained all of this to the conservatives. At CPAC, I did a whole breakdown of Frederick Douglass and why he's a top tier Hall of Fame checklist, best conservative that we could use. Best one. Tay-Tay says, every word out of your mouth is on point. No question today. Just sending prayers and blessings your way. Appreciate that, Tay-Tay. If you have a business that you want to promote, if you have a question, do the super chat. Do the super chat. Do the super chat. All of your super chat donations go to our work at Black Guns Matter of arming and informing and educating new firearms owners about basic firearm safety in urban America. Okay, so do that way. Okay, so it's not that they're unaware. It's that they can't control themselves and they're going for some likes and some views. Or they only want to talk to the people that agree with them that, yeah, George Floyd wasn't this saint. We all agree to that. Cool. But the question is, how are you using the facts to actually get more people on your side? This whole argument about facts don't care about your feelings. Clearly, the Democrats are winning and all they have is feelings. So maybe you should reapproach how you view that. Because I want to win. I don't want to actually just be right. You know the great thing about being right? You're just right. You don't actually win. You could be, people, as we just saw with an election, people can cheat, be wrong, and still win. And how's that working out for us in America? We underestimated the left's ability to use feelings for eons at this point. We've underestimated the left's ability to cheat. We've underestimated the left's ability to survive and expand their ideology with very little facts or very little benefit. But we still choose to not pay attention to what's actually happening and get a cheap joke, get a cheap laugh. Paul Smith says GOP can't win voters, change minds, or add challenge perspectives if they don't believe in what they say and do. GOP got to walk the walk as well. 100% agree with that, Paul. 100%. Okay? Now, the scary part is maybe they actually believe what they're saying. They're like certain large gun organizations. There's 100 million gun owners, 100 million gun owners in America that we are aware of. There's 300 million Americans. Some of these organizations have 4 or 5 million members. So let's just take the 100 million gun owners. They have 5% of that in their membership. They are catering to that 5 million members and continuing to sell and extract resources from them. They have no interest in actually expanding into the remaining 95 million gun owners, because that would actually take nuanced work as opposed to just focusing on those 5 million FUDs. You understand? We have to actually make sure that we're actually doing things on a listener or balanced or centrist and right of center perspective. We have to make sure that we're actually doing things that actually help us win. Their outdated philosophy. Okay. AK Karma says, Maj, you on point. Would love to have you on my podcast, Black Republican, Black Democrat. I DM'd you on Instagram, solutions over rhetoric every day. Absolutely. Send an email to solutionarylifestyle@gmail.com and let's get it done. Let's get it scheduled. Appreciate that for that super chat. Somebody said everybody's a damn comedian nowadays, and they're not funny. And it ain't funny. On top of that, it's actually costing you battles in the overall war. Okay? Now, I contend that these people aren't dumb. I think they're dumb because they're not trying to win, but I think they're very manipulative. They're catering to their specific demographic, like those gun organizations. Instead of getting the remaining 95 million gun owners, they want to just sell things to this 5 million over and over and over again. Because if you get 100 million Americans that are buying guns to now shift their voting patterns, because some of those people are Democrat, independent, so forth and so on, Libertarian. If you get that, then it makes your job obsolete. They're only doing things catering to their base to sell things to their base. That is not what America needs. I could blow out of the frame if I just went hard right or hard left. That is not what America needs. America does not need more polarization. Conservatives continue to lose on purpose because the people that we're highlighting are clowns, goofies, or unaware of the bad marketing choices that they make. And this George Floyd making fun of that lightning striking that mural is a perfect example of it. It's a perfect example of it. And this is the same insanity. Einstein said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting or wanting different results. This is the insanity that we're dealing with. So I'm saying this because I love us all as Americans. Because I'm objective and in the middle, I have critique and championing for both sides that think they're on different sides when we're all in America. We're all being played by puppeteers, a small percentage of the population, the media involved in that, to make us continue to do this thing as opposed to actually winning. A win for, if you identify as more right of center, a win is your leftist brothers and sisters understanding your perspective, recognizing that you have more in common than differences, and bridging that gap to the people that want to actually engage. And most people, there's fringe amounts of small people that are too far gone, but most Americans actually lean somewhere towards the middle. Okay. Media makes it look like it's more extreme folks on both sides. And the people that identify as libertarian, conservative, and independent, your talking points, when you repeat this type of dumb shit, makes it actually much easier for the extreme polarized media to paint you as a racist, even though you aren't. The most of y'all, some of y'all are, but even though you aren't. The question is that we have to start asking these people is, do you want to win, or do you just want to sell to your small demographic, or do they just want to own the other side? If you're not about winning, if you're not a solutionary, unfollow me, unsubscribe. I don't give a fuck. I don't care about you. But if you are, your action item list is when you see these type of things, pull people coat to it. Yo, man, this isn't strengthening the republic. Yo, man, that joke is in poor taste. Imagine these are the same people, goofballs, that when King Face died, don't talk bad about King Face, even though King Face at the same time there was allegations that he was giving women HIV, but they understood to not talk about somebody in death. But here they are doing the same thing. Same conservatives made fun of Ruth Bader Ginsburg when she passed. It's tasteless, and it doesn't do anything other than give the left fuel to use your content against you, to package it to the demographic that may not be aware of the puppeteering that's going on, but package you as a racist to that demographic that we want to spread conservative and libertarian values so we can get an actual win. I want to thank you all for tuning in today. Again, solutionarylifestyle.org. I want to make sure that everyone's coming up to the Solutionary Summit, which will be September the 3rd through the 5th in Miami, solutionarylifestyle.org. You can get your tickets. You can get a one-day ticket, the boat, the whole shebang, the VIP ticket, all of that, which comes with a hotel, all of that other stuff, right? Also, we need your help in supporting this work. Share this video, like, subscribe. Share this video. These are action item lists. It's not an attack on conservatives. You're my brothers and sisters. This is not an attack on leftists. They're our brothers and sisters, even if some of them so goofy that they don't even know it. This is what we have to do to spread the message of actually saving the republic with people that actually are interested. And more people are interested in saving the republic and not being communist nation than, media would have us believe. But you share this message. Subscribe, youtube.com/Maj Toure. We're going to put this over there as well. We got to start talking about politics and things like that, because this is somewhat Second Amendment related, but it's not. But we're going to shift that stuff over there. Patreon.com/Black Guns Matter, as well as donate to the work. GoFundMe.com/Black Guns Matter to inform urban America about their Second Amendment rights and get them shifting their voting patterns in the direction of the Second Amendment supportive politicians and public servants. As well as, if you want to get some merch, blackgunsmattershop.com. And even after this, I want to hear you all. If you have a product, a service, something that you want to share, you want to send me some merch, you want me to promote, you want to be a sponsor for the Solutionary Summit, shoot us an email, solutionarylifestyle@gmail.com. Thank you all for listening. Be safe. Be solutionary.